Hello, hello. It's time for Fishing Friends. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fishing Friends with Danny and Gina. I'm Danny, and as the title says, Gina's on vacation. So she will not be joining us tonight. Her and Nathan went to a knife show. Not 100% sure where, but I believe it was out of state and all that. So they're having a lot of fun doing that. But in the meantime, you got me. So there's that. But I thought it'd be cool to, maybe show my pond a little bit tonight too. So I do that. There must be something else going on. I don't see like anybody here. What's up, Jerry Blow? Good to see ya. Thanks for the subscription. Chattanooga Ed has a Saturday Super Show going. Yeah. Jake. Jake. Jack. Jake. Jack is in Jeremy, or is in Jack is in your name is actually Jack. And then K, Jack K. Okay, so yeah. Jeremy. What's up, dude? See, I was gonna show my pond, so there's that. Let me kind of make it. How can I? Anyway, I'm trying to make that bigger. Here we go. I can probably do this. Cancel. Edit layout. Cancel. This guy. Hold on. I got this. I'm going to have to create a new layout while it's going on, so I hope it's showing something right now. Make myself small. There we go. And camera slot on. There we go. Make that bigger. There we go. Boom. Yeah. There we go. That works. So yeah, the pond in general doing really good. You can see my garden in the back too. It's looking nice. I have the volume up on that. Hopefully, and it makes it really make the mic volume higher. There we go. I wanted to pick up all the background sounds in my backyard too, because there's some cool stuff. And the tree frogs should start kicking off anytime here soon. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool to watch it get progressively darker, maybe get to see the fish swim around, do a few things. But in general, the pond's doing really, really good. I did find a dead fish this morning on one of the rocks on the side of the pool. It was only like half the fish, and the only half that was left was pretty much demolished and eaten out from the inside by like flies and stuff. So like, don't know exactly how long it had been sitting there. Probably a good while because it was really good and dry. But yeah, something got one of my fish. Don't know what it was. I have some neighborhood cats and stuff. There's squirrels and plenty of different birds. Um, Maybe a raccoon or something. I don't know. I've never actually seen a raccoon or like a possum or anything in my yard, but not saying that they don't exist. It didn't eat my koi, luckily. I still have my 3 koi in there, but it ate my what I would call my butterfly comet goldfish, like the one that was like a comet, but it had really nice long flowy fins like a butterfly koi does. And man, it just kind of sucks that one is gone. There's still a whole bunch of little mosquito fish and stuff in there, and baby mosquito fish. Um, and I've definitely seen 2 tadpoles as well. I've seen one smaller one and the one big one that has little bitty legs. That's pretty cool. Oh, I think you could just hear my air conditioner kick on. So it's weird. It's still trying to like block out the background noise. And that might just be because my fan is running or my air conditioner. Or maybe not. I don't know. I can't tell. I definitely heard that in the background though. Yeah. Sad that I lost one of the goldfish. But I got to figure out what the predator was. Because I got to figure out what I got to do to like prevent this from happening again. Um, I don't want to net the entire thing. I've thought about maybe just putting like a little fence or something around the outside, but I mean, that's not really going to do any good unless it was like a tall enough fence to really prevent stuff. Oh, look, you can see one of the fish in the middle. Nice. There you go. Thank you, Dixon Designs. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I think the pond is looking pretty good. The one lily that's right in the middle is thriving for sure. You can see all those nice big pads all over the place. There's another lily over on the right side that is it's doing okay, but it's not doing nearly as well as that one because well, some of the well, pretty much all of the water lettuce is collecting over by it as well, and probably blocking some of the sun or something like that. But I'm trying to kind of spread out the water lettuce and just kind of have it more sporadic all over. But it does just kind of eventually either collect right there or it collects on the other side of the pond right around where the cattails are. But if you look on the left side of the screen where the cattails are, right behind there, you can see the little elephant ears that are doing really good on the side of the pond there. The other day I went outside and gosh, this was 2, maybe 3 days ago. And we had just had like a big rain or something like that. And I went outside and it was not like just after the rain, but like, several hours after the big rain. And I went outside like the next morning and stuff. And the pond was low. And I'm just like, oh no, like, please don't tell me I got a leak or something like that. So I went outside and assessed the situation and was going around looking at stuff. And yeah, because of all the rain and everything, the waterfall, the like plastic part that like does the overflow thing, that had kind of settled a little bit and ended up having a little bit where some of the water was going off the back and into the plants, which is great for the plants, but yeah, it was draining the pond. So I just, it was basically a little water change and just filled up the pond again. And yeah, the fish are doing really good and happy. And that's when I kind of saw the tadpoles kind of coming out more and stuff. But got a good but very cute pond, boss. Got to see some fish. Off to Phoenix for karaoke. Well, all right, man. Have fun doing some karaoke. I like karaoke. I'm not hearing any sound coming from the pond. Let me turn the mic settings back down to like 100. Maybe that'll help. Echo cancellation off. Huh. I heard a little bit of something. Let me turn it back up then. No. Well, turning the echo cancellation off might have helped a little bit. Man, I was just hoping you'd be able to hear some stuff. I heard some stuff earlier before I started the live stream. And it's like now it's quiet out there. And it's possible it is quiet outside. Or maybe my AC is going right now and it's trying to reduce that sound or something like that. I don't really know. Aside from the pond, we kind of go over this way too. My my tarantula molted. He had been eating for probably about a month now. Not a month, like 2 or 3 weeks. I bought some crickets and put them in there, and she didn't go after him right away. And then yesterday, I think I noticed that, yep, she had molted. And then today, I got her old molt out. So, yeah, it almost looks like there's like a whole nother little spider in there. There's some good focus. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool. So, I'll probably end up just throwing that away. But I wanted to keep that to show you guys. Probably show it again later when more people end up joining the live stream. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there's some sort of bird or something. Yeah, pond watching. Like, it's cool to be able to do this because fish and all the animals and stuff are going to interact differently than they would if I was outside. So yeah, some sort of bird is in my elderberry bush right there, which is all in bloom and looking beautiful. And it looks like it just flew into my blackberries. Okay, so Go back to this setup. There we go. My tomato plants are nice and big now, and the Cherokee Purple has some little flowers and stuff on it. So I'll be starting to get tomatoes on that plant here pretty soon, and I'll have ripe ones hopefully in a month or so, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not 100% sure how long it takes the whole tomato to grow and ripen, but yeah, it's been like, I guess, one full complete month now that the pond has been set up. It's like good and fully cycled and all that. Now the fish are getting happy and all that. Life lessons vlogs. What's up? What's up? James asks, how deep is the pond? Well, where you see where the fish are swimming right there, and like the center left side, right around that area, it's probably about 3 to 3.5 foot deep. And then over on the shallow area, it obviously has some shallows and stuff. Where the water lettuce is, it's probably about 1.5 to 2 foot deep. And there's some different areas for the fish to kind of go in, some different levels. The original, I dug the hole probably about 4 foot deep originally, in that center left area. But as I was kind of leveling off the sides a little bit more, I pushed some more dirt back in, and then adding all those rocks and stuff on top of the liner. It's kind of, there's some deep area with the rocks too, because it's definitely settled. If you look on like the sides, you can kind of see some of the black area where the liner is and stuff. I want to get some more like flat rocks and stuff to try to cover the liner more, and maybe I can get like some bigger slabs of flat rock and redo the sides a little bit more to where I actually have it like go over the pond versus like this, So like the bank of the pond, is like here. So instead of the rocks being like right on the side, like maybe I can get some bigger slabs to where the rocks can actually hang over the edge. That might help against some, like, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say it would help against any of the predators per se, but it would help against some of the like smaller birds that are like climbing on the sides and helping to like push rocks in and stuff like that. And they're trying to like take little baths in the side of the pond, which is cool and it's nice to see and all that. But I don't really want every bird in the neighborhood coming and taking a bath in my pond and, affecting the ecosystem in there. Craig's Catfish Cave, what's up? That's a very beautiful pond. Well, thank you. Thank you. I think you were maybe using talk to text or something. I believe you were asking how large will the fish get? The koi should get, 2.5 to 3 foot long. And then the goldfish will get about a foot long or so. But right now there's only one goldfish in there and there's 3 koi. I'm gonna have to like restock on some goldfish. I had 2 goldfish in there, but I was saying earlier before some of you guys got in that I found my longfin goldfish half eaten, and the other half was like, well, pretty much fully eaten. It was just like the shell of its body on the side of the pond. So something got it, and then the flies and whatever else finished off the rest. And yeah, as I was like picking it up to like move it and throw it over into my compost pile, there was like flies and stuff crawling out of the body, and it was kind of gross. But it's also the circle of life or whatever. But I mean, I got to figure out what sort of predator it was. I do have neighborhood cats, but I've been trying to keep the cats out of my yard. But if it was like a bird or something like that, then maybe having the cats around would be better. But yeah, if it's cats, how do I keep the cats out of the pond? And I don't want to net it. Like, I don't. That's probably the only option I really have is to net the entire thing, but I don't want to net it because I don't want to put an ugly net over the thing. It looks so pretty without a net. The mosquito fish are totally thriving in there for real. Anytime I see them, they're fat as hell. And then there's a whole bunch of little babies and stuff in there too. Oh, the goldfish are hanging out over by the little waterfall. Or the koi, whatever. The fish, the main fish. Mark Sterlson. What's up, dude? Everybody that's been rolling in recently. Gina is on vacation. Her and Nathan went out to do a knife show and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure it's out of state and all that. So they're doing like little weekend vacation things. So you got just me tonight, but we're getting a nice view of my pond. I might try to go outside in a moment and see what's going on as to why it's not picking up any sound. Because I don't hear any sound on it. But then again, maybe it's just because it's trying to give me like full sound, and so it's like muting it. I don't know. I'm going to remove myself for a second and see if I hear the pond when I take myself down. Nah, I don't really hear anything anymore, so. You really should have gone deeper, especially for the fish, so they can have some really real depth to dive down to get away from stuff. Yes, I have to use speech thing to help me. Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, 3.5 foot deep or so is deep enough, and they can and the fish are small right now too, to where when they're hiding under the water lettuce or anywhere else, like you can't see them at all, and they can also. You can kind of see them on top of that flat rock right in the middle swimming around right now. They can swim under that rock as well. There's caves and things like there's places for them to go. But I feel like the fish is probably like hanging out on the side in like the shallow area, and like something like a cat or something was just like, ooh, look at this. Swipe and just grabbed it right out because sometimes I see the fish like trying to get a bug or something like that on the side, and a cat or something like that is a little bit better at hiding and sneaking up slowly and sitting perfectly still so the fish don't really know it's there, you can easily swipe it up. So deeper might have helped. Um, but in this situation with that tiny fish, I don't think it would have helped at all, really. Um, but, when it comes down to it, uh, if, yeah, koi get big and then they'll become cat food, yeah. I know that eventually, I just got some and I wanted to see how they'll do. And I got some bullfrog tadpoles too because like I kind of bought those on, well, I didn't buy those. I got those on impulse because at Ponds Plus with any purchase you can get 3 free tadpoles. So I was buying some plants. I was like, let me get some tadpoles because hey, bullfrogs are cool, and I got tree frogs around the area, and so hearing some bullfrogs with some tree frogs and all the other sounds would be really sweet. And if I don't have good success with the koi, the goldfish, or whatever else, or with the koi, then maybe I'll just try just going with goldfish because that's what I did in the smaller pond was just goldfish since they only got about a foot long. But when that pond went like shallow, I had something trying to eat my fish too. So I think it's the neighborhood cats, and I got to figure out some way to not have. I don't know. Like a fence, a little fence isn't going to help. I'd have to make like a really, really tall fence. And even then, the cats can like climb the fence. I don't want to net it. Nets are stupid. But speaking of all the different animals and stuff, one of my coworkers has what he he said he thinks it's like an Australian cattle dog, um, which if it is, those are really cool dogs. Um, and hopefully it's pretty chill or whatever. But he was asking if somebody could potentially watch it for a week while he was on vacation, and I'm thinking about it. Um, he potentially has some other options, but I've been thinking about it. I like dogs in general, and if she's pretty chill, then I shouldn't have a problem with that. My biggest concern is her potentially terrorizing my cat. Um, but my cat is also all right with dogs as long as the dog is chill. Like, if it's one of those hyperactive dogs, or I don't know, yeah, it's not gonna be good for me. But monitor at night with some cameras and night vision. Figure out what's coming in first. If it's cats, you could put all those auto sprayers and they'll leave. Auto sprayers. Ah. Hmm. Not a bad idea. I've been trying to think about how I could like surround my yard with like sharp, thorny plants to just keep all the cats and stuff out. Like I already got You can't see them, surprisingly. Well, they just kind of blend into the background, and most of them are behind the elderberry bush there. But I got a whole bunch of raspberries in one area. And in general, my whole back fence is just covered with all different varieties of plants. I got the really tall, like elephant grass over there on the right side behind the garden. And, but yeah, I don't know. Having cats has its benefits and a lot of negatives as well. Because since I've seen more cats in my yard recently, I haven't seen like as many squirrels and stuff really messing with any of my stuff. And I actually have blueberries this year that I've gotten off my blueberry bush before squirrels just took down the entire thing. So there's that. But yeah, now I have a dead fish problem. So yeah, we have that. Don't forget to hit the like button, send out the notification to people. And if anybody is also watching that Chattanooga Ed live stream, if that's still going. Oh, it just finished. Perfect. So hopefully everybody will be jumping over here after that Chattanooga Ed live stream. So I'm not sure if I mentioned it on any of these live streams or not, but what's up, George RB3? But at my family, I feel like I have, but I'm just going to mention it anyway. So at my family reunion several weeks ago, my dad brought some pickled sausage, and I tried some, and it was really, really good. And that's basically, the story is that because that's what happened. I don't remember where my dad originally was, but they tried some pickled sausage somewhere, and they just thought it was really, really good. And then when they were up visiting my sister and my brother-in-law and her family and stuff up there in North Dakota, there was some place where they found a jar of pickled sausage up there. So they bought a jar and brought it home, and then brought like half of it to the family reunion, and I tried some of that, and it was really, really good. So I got inspired, since I like making pickles and all different sorts of things. I got inspired to try to make pickled sausage. And so I looked up like 7 or so like recipes of pickled sausage, and they were pretty much all the same sort of recipe. So I just kind of did the general combination of what they wanted with pickled sausage. And the first time I bought these, I think the brand is Fatty or something like that. Like it's a black label and it says Fatty down the side, but it's like smoked jalapeno sausage stick. And so I cut it up into little like inch long little segments and put it in a jar and made a pickle brine with some spices and black peppercorns, and I threw a clove of garlic and a couple rings of yellow onion in there, and vinegar, water, the whole pickle brine thing, and oh man, it came out really, really good. So I still have a couple of those left, probably we'll say like a handful of sausage left in that jar. And so since it was so good and the flavor reminded me very much of that jar that my dad had brought to the family reunion, and I know my dad really liked the pickled sausage and all that stuff, I decided I was going to go out and do it again. The first time I did, I bought 4 of those uh, links of sausage and chopped them up, and it filled up the jar okay, but not quite enough. So this last time I bought 6, and it really filled up the jar all the way nicely with the onion and the garlic and all that stuff too. So you can hear some sounds. I don't know what's going on out there, but hopefully we'll start to hear some tree frogs soon. But so yeah, I pickled a whole nother jar of sausage. This one's really nice and full, and I'm gonna give that one to my dad for Father's Day. And I can say that because my dad doesn't watch my live stream. So I'm gonna give a jar of pickled sausage to my dad. And I work for Yellow, which was formerly Schwann's, and we have a really, really good summer sausage. And so I cut up the summer sausage into like little triangle cube things or whatever, and filled up another jar with that and pickled that too. So I'm going to keep that for myself. Well, no, I'm going to take that into work tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Monday. I'm going to take that into work and share that with my coworkers. And I also spiced them up really good. I put a couple drops of my ghost pepper extract in there. Hopefully I didn't add too much, because I'm kind of immune to a lot of heat. Oh, I guess there's my neighbors or something screaming. You can kind of see some fireflies and stuff out there too. Nice. Well, I made sure to turn down the volume on my phone outside so that my voice isn't sitting there talking outside, causing attention on my phone or any sort of thing having to do with that cancellation. Yep. Well, my speaker works. That is true. My speaker does work. Yeah. But as I was saying, I eat so much spicy food all the time. Like, I made my own ghost pepper extract, so I literally put that in like everything. I just like spicy everything. So, friggin', if I buy pickles, I put a couple drops. I put like 3 drops in a standard jar of pickles, and that's like really nice and spicy. I'll buy like a standard like plastic like squeezy thing of ketchup, a good size one, and I'll put 2 or 3 drops in there, and that's really nice and spicy, And I just do it all the time to where sometimes I'll eat something and people will say it's spicy, and I just won't feel like any sort of heat at all. And so I'll just I just hope I didn't accidentally make the sausage too spicy for my dad or my coworkers to like actually enjoy. Because when I made the sausage the first time, I only put 2 drops in the brine before I started heating it all up. and that was for 1 jar. And I just didn't quite feel like it was spicy enough. So when I made the 2 jars, I added 6 drops in the bigger thing of brine, so that it'd be equivalent to 3 drops in each jar. But hopefully it wasn't too much. I think next time, if I'm gonna do that, I think I'm just gonna make the brine and heat it up on the stove and boil it like you're supposed to and simmer it for like 5 minutes. But then after I pour it into the jar, then I'll add like a drop or 2 of the extract into the jar versus while I'm heating up the brine and all that. Because one, even with the fans and stuff going, it does get a little tough inside the kitchen, and I got birds. I gotta be a little bit more careful with that for sure. I don't want to accidentally make pepper spray in the house by just the steam and all that of that hot pepper brine boiling and simmering. That would be bad, not just for me, but especially for my birds. So yeah, next time I do this, I'm just gonna simmer the brine, but then after I pour it into the jars for my pickles or whatever else, then I'll add the couple drops of ghost pepper extract. And some of you may be asking, it's like, why ghost pepper extracts? Like, why not just add ghost peppers or jalapenos or any other spicy pepper to whatever you want? Well, the reason I don't do that is because I have problems with texture. And sometimes I don't like to chew on a jalapeno or any other pepper or anything like that. But I want the heat from it. And so that's why I make ghost pepper extract. Just so I can add a couple drops to something and make it really nice and hot. But I don't have to chew on a pepper or, get too much of that flavor from the jalapenos or anything like that. Sometimes you want the flavor from the jalapenos, and that's when, I would actually chop up some jalapenos and bake with them or whatever else. Not bake, but cook with them. But most of the time I don't want that. And, it's like when you buy a jar of pickles, like, what do you want in that jar? You want the pickles and the brine, right? You don't necessarily want all this other stuff in there. And sometimes you see that with like the home style pickles and things like that. And in my jars, yeah, all the spices, the peppercorns, the garlic, and the onions and stuff are in the jar with the sausage. But personally, I would much rather, maybe next time I will age the brine with all the spices and stuff like that. And then after I have all that good brine, and aged, then I'll strain all the solid material out and just have that good pickle juice and pickle the sausage then. Because I don't want all that other chunky stuff in there. When you're trying to reach your hand in there and grab out a little sausage and you got like onions and stuff all over your hand and a whole bunch of other chopped up stuff coming off, I don't necessarily want that. And then some of you are just like, gosh, you freaking redneck, nasty, gross person sticking your hand in the pickle jar versus using like a fork or something like that. It's my pickle jar. I'm not sharing it with anybody else. Now, if it's like, somebody else's pickle jars, and yeah, I'm not sticking my hand in there. But it's my pickles. Screw y'all. Silver Creek, what's up, dude? Good to see you. So yeah, you can see the mushroom lights have kind of lit up now on the pond. It's starting to get nice and dark out there. The camera is starting to have issues focusing and stuff. It's getting a little fuzzy. But you can also see some lightning bugs, which is pretty cool. See, it's like it's a freaking double-edged sword or something like that, you know. I want the pond to be as natural as possible and attract wildlife. But on the other hand, I don't want any of that wildlife to harm my fish. So it's like, you know? I wanted it to be really nice and pretty and do the whole thing that a pond is supposed to do and attract all the different wildlife. You can even see all the way on the left side, one of the rocks on the side of the pond has a little dip in it where it actually collects water and makes that little pool. Well, I was hoping that birds and stuff would like go and have a little bath right there and stuff like that. But I don't want them to ruin everything else and start eating my fish. But speaking of, dude, Silver Creek. So last week you were talking about how in your areas you have green herons, right? And I was talking about how I had never seen one. Well, it turns out that I have seen them before. The only time I had ever seen one, they were flying and far enough away to where I couldn't see any color. I just saw this weird looking bird that looked like a little miniature pterodactyl flying around. But freaking yesterday, I'm out on my route and I stop at this really nice big pond and I was just kind of handing out some books right around there and I look and sure enough, there was a green heron out on the pond and I could see it with all its color and I tried to like get up closer to it and then it flew off. And that's when I realized that I had actually seen them before. I could never see all that color and glory of a green heron. And man, these birds are absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to show a picture of them again because yeah, let me go ahead and present that. See how does it look over here? Okay, good. It's sharing fine. So yeah, like look at these birds. It's absolutely gorgeous. But you know, like it's much darker looking when you're looking at them in person. Unless you just get the right sort of sunlight. But yeah, when they fly, they just look like a little pterodactyl or whatever. Oh, look at the little young one. Or maybe not. It's just all frilled up. But yeah, those guys are absolutely gorgeous birds. Dang, I didn't send you the video of the green heron. Well, that's okay. I saw one in person. Make that pond bigger again. Look at that. Gorgeous. It lights up real nice. This is like the perfect time to like be outside and just hang out on the little patio I have back there. I need to, now that I have the pond finished, I need to build a fire pit and do that too. I need to think about exactly where I want to put the fire pit because I want it to be kind of close to the pond because I want it to be like in the general vicinity of the pond so that, you're hanging out on the chairs by the fire and the pond's like there too. So it just is kind of all interactive within each other. But I also want to be very careful that I don't get too many like embers or whatever that would end up like flying into the pond or something. So, and that is also kind of dependent on how I build the fire pit as well. But I want to do it, fully from scratch, not any one of those like stupid kits or something you buy. But I will buy, some of those like stackable bricks and stuff, fire pit, and then let's go with that. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm not getting all the sound I was hoping I would get out there. I know the microphone works. I heard people screaming earlier. But either it's just abnormally quiet out there right now, or my phone is just, even though I tried to turn off the automatic, like, reduce microphone background noise. Let me turn that on. And then now let me turn it off. Now it didn't help. At least not from my end, but I can hear. I think Streamyard just has a really good job of trying to automatically get rid of some of the background noise. But if you guys give me just 1 second, I'm going to actually step outside and see if I hear anything out there. I'll be right back. Now, you know what, guys? I'm sure you can hear me. It actually is pretty quiet out here. I can hear a few little bugs and stuff, but the tree frogs are silent. Well, all right. So, did you guys hear me when I was outside? If you didn't, I said, yeah, it is actually surprisingly quiet outside. That you did not hear me. Well, it is surprisingly quiet out there tonight. You can hear a few little bugs and some people talking and stuff like that, but the tree frogs are just silent right now. So there's that. But you could not hear me, huh? I'm going to take my phone down and put it back up and see if I can fix the sound. Hold on.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so you heard that one. No. Oh, there's my AC turning on again. Because I opened the door and all that stuff and let some of the nice cool air out. So you guys can hear some stuff. Yeah, definitely not quiet here. It's loud at night. No white noise machine needed. Bugs and frog noises. Yeah, I normally get that sort of thing. Maybe it's just a little too early right now still. I don't know. My neighbors are outside and the ones on my right side. And I hope they can't hear me. I really hope they can't. Just because I don't trust them at all. Sometimes I've found like trash in my backyard, and I never ever found trash in my backyard until after they moved in. And it always seems to be coming like over from their side as well. And so I'm not necessarily saying they are throwing trash in my backyard, but it sure seems like some of the kids have been throwing trash in my backyard every now and then, like of a Capri Sun or, a soda can, whatever else. And, the only time they ever talk to me is just the younger teenage boys trying to, like, want to mow my lawn, just trying to get money out of me in some way. And it's like, I already got people that mow my lawn and stuff like that. So I don't want you to mow my lawn. And it's also just because I don't trust them. Like, the people that mow my lawn, they do it for a living. They know landscaping and stuff like that. And so they understand like what plants to mow over and what plants not to mow over. And for the most part, they do. And even so, like, yeah, when my canna was small, I put a little thing over to make sure that they wouldn't mow that stuff. But yeah, trust is vital, especially with, my yard and how many different sort of plants and stuff that I grow. And they're all like, "Oh yeah, it's my dad, owns a landscaping business and LLC and all that stuff." And it's just like I've never seen like an official truck or any sort of thing like that. And if their dad or whatever they're talking about that owns this LLC or whatever is the guy that randomly mowed my front lawn that one time and left grass all over the place, causing me to have $100 fine with the city of Florissant, then yeah, I really don't want you to mow my lawn if that's the sort of business and stuff that you guys do. You know, the people that I got to do it, they got one person going around on a freaking ride on while everybody else is going around with trimmers, and you got like one or two people that have like a leaf blower going around like right behind them and all that stuff. So everything, my entire yard is done in like 15-20 minutes, and that's just fantastic. And they do a really good job. Sometimes I wish they had a little bit of a smaller lawnmower so that they could do some more intricate lines and stuff in my yard, because they just have this really nice big ride-on, which is great for getting the job done quick. But my front yard, they just kind of do like a quick like zoom, 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 zoom. And I don't know. I don't want to see where the thing turns around in my front yard. I really want. When I was doing it with the push mower, I could get some really nice looking lines in my front yard, and I like lines. So I really kind of wish that I did have like more time and stuff to like mow my own yard and more of the equipment to do some of the nice trimming and stuff like that. But just with my schedule and all that, there's too many times where I have to wait for the weekend, and then the weekend rains the entire time, and I can't mow my lawn, and then I have to wait for a whole nother week until the next weekend, just because I work during the entire time of the sun being up, and I don't want to well, not necessarily, but I don't want to wake up like an extra hour early or something like that to quickly mow my front yard and then like try to take a shower and then go to work or anything like that. So it's just much easier for me to pay somebody else to do it, especially when they have all this nice equipment and can make it look really, really good. Size of the mower doesn't matter. I could make art in your front yard with a zero turn. Oh yeah, you could. Talent is talent, though, like you said. But you definitely could. But I mean, if you have an extra wide like tractor or whatever, like you're not gonna get the same. When your propeller is this big versus this big, you're not gonna get the same sort of lines, I don't have a huge field of a yard to where you can show these really nice lines like a baseball field or whatever. So I don't need a baseball field size lawnmower for my lawn. I don't want lines that are this big. I want lines that are this big or whatever, not actually this big. I'm just showing, the size of my camera that my hands are visible. But, a smaller blade size gives you smaller line diameter, or different diameter is not the right word, but different different spacing between your parallel lines, to where you can get more visibility and nicer cuts in the smaller, bumpier yard. Sometimes those big, really big blades kind of hit a bump and kind of go this way, and you end up with some weird lines and stuff as they're turning around in their zero turn and things like that. Dixon understands what I'm saying. So my yard is just not big enough for a big lawnmower to make it look really, really nice. Unless you went over it like 5 times in like every single direction and did that sort of thing, but they're not doing that. But yeah, I do kind of miss mowing my lawn myself, because I would also do the the lines in like an angle. And every time I mow my lawn, I do it in a different way. So one time the angle would be like a 45-degree angle left to right. And then 2 weeks later, when I cut the lawn, I do a 45-degree angle right to left. And it looks really, really nice. I've seen other people that do that. And the way it looked as you're like driving past the house, when you can like see the lines as you're like coming around and all that. And so that's when I decided to cut my yard that way versus doing like lines perpendicular to the street. And man, it did look really nice. Like the day of mowing and like the next couple days after, my yard was looking really, really good. And yeah. One of these days, I might get a different job when I have more time. I might get a different job that gives me more time to do things. That is always my goal. And I'm sure a lot of people's goal is to make more money and work less hours, right? If that's not your goal, like, hey, whatever, some people like to work a lot. I want to work less hours in an actual industry that is making me make money so that I have more time to do the things that don't make me money, and also some things that might cost me money. So it's like, what's the point in making all the money if I never have any time to do anything with the money? And some people are like, well, you'll have time when you retire. And, that's true. But what if I don't get the chance to retire? What if I have to work my entire life? Like, what if I die by getting hit by a truck at 62 before I finish working? Like, there's all these different things that could happen. So, I'm just going to live my life the way I want to live my life. And I'm not just going to work myself to death and have no time for play. But I do wish I made a little bit more. But speaking of all that stuff, I've been having some issues with some of my different sales and some of my different days with my job. Some of my days are just a real struggle. I don't want to make excuses. Some of it is just like, maybe I'm not doing something quite right. Maybe I'm not actually knocking on doors and trying to talk to people, because like I don't like to do that. I don't want to be that sort of door-to-door salesman. I'll leave a little book in your door so that you can look at it and decide whether or not you want to reach out to me or place an order online or something like that. But I don't want to be that guy that's going door to door and knocking on it and be like, hi, have you heard of this company and what I can do for you today? Like, I don't want to be that guy. So some of my days, like the guy that was there previous to me, a lot of people just didn't like him. And then he would like stop going to a lot of different people too. And so just that, when I took over that area after he got fired and they split up his zone in half. I got one half and another coworker of mine got the other half. Well, what's funny is several months ago, they reduced her from a 10-day route to a 9-day route. And those 2 days that she got from the previous guy, they combined into 1 day. And basically, I've been saying they needed to do that to me for a while. And that's probably what we're going to end up doing. My boss told me to think about it over the weekend. And I think it's kind of a good idea. because in the long run, if we can combine my 2 bad days that are right next to each other together into one day, instead of seeing 30 people on one day and only having like 10 of them buy something, and seeing like 30 people on the other day and only having like 10 or 15 of them buy something, I can see, 50 of those people cut out, 10 of those stops that I don't really need to see every single time, and see the 50 main people that, pretty much do buy every other time or so, and get, at least 20 to 25 buyers on that day versus 10 on 2 different days. And if I can do that in one way, I should be able to at least make the same amount of money I'm making now by working one day less than I do, just because I'd be able to like increase my commission percentage and my sales overall per day, to where even though I lose out on one day of base pay, I might be able to even get myself up into another commission bracket and be able to make a little bit more money off a commission, to where I might be able to actually do that. And every other week, I'll have a 3-day weekend, but I'll still be making the same amount of money overall. Now, I could also take that 10th day, and instead of running a normal route, I can do what we would call like a build day, where I really do just go out and just knock on doors and try to just build customers, and stop off in a park somewhere and try to get customers, and go to businesses and try to get customers. Like, I won't have any scheduled stops anywhere. It'll just be me going out and trying to get all cold sales. And I can use that to then help build more customers on some of the other days that I kind of struggle a little bit with, which could be beneficial. And then maybe eventually I can have a 10-day route again if everything goes good. But as far as business-wise, no sense in having me go out on 2 days to barely make any money on both of those days, where I can go out for one day and, make a combination of those two instead, because gosh, I'm sure it probably costs $1,000 to $1,200 just in business expenses to send out one of these trucks each day. So if I don't make enough money, in sales, then I'm just costing the company money. And Missouri just shut down 3 more depots recently. And so now we're down to only 2 depots. And even though the depot that I work with has historically always been one of the most profitable depots in the company, all of my coworkers have been kind of struggling recently. And so I don't want Missouri to lose what is previously called Schwann, that is now Yellow, completely. Because, gosh, I grew up with this, and I love the service, and I love my job. And, the customers that I have that are great customers that really love the service and everything that we have to offer, like, they're just great people, and it's great to talk with them and interact and, give them delicious food and all that stuff. But something's not going right, and there are some different issues that are happening as far as stuff being out of stock and whatever else. And just everything's so expensive nowadays to where, people are trying to, pinch every penny and just go to the grocery store and buy as little as possible and save up as much money as possible to where, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want this company to die. I really don't. But it seems like they've made some bad money choices in the past, and when I think it was back in 2018, they sold 70% of the company to a Korean company called CJ something or other. And so when we fully separated from them about a year ago now, and we lost so many of our manufacturers, and because like the CJ side of Schwann's owned like Freshetta and Red Baron and a lot of these other food companies, to where like we lost our pizzas and like all of our novelty ice creams and things like that, like our staple items. And we lost the vendors. And because they are owned by CJ Schwann's and they fully separated from us now, like they won't do any business with us. They won't even sell us their pizza crust to where we can do everything else on top of it. Like, and so we can't find a good vendor that makes good little mini pizzas anymore at a good value, that at high quality as well. And so there's that. We got lots of different issues and stuff going on, but it is what it is. If I want any sales help or want to role play some word tracks, gotcha. Oh, well, thanks, Tom. But I'm okay at that, honestly. Like, I am, as far as my coworkers, like, I'm the king of upsells. Like, I can convince anybody to buy something more. I can at least get you to like try something new and some different stuff. Like, I'm good at getting people to buy more when I get to the door, and I'm good at the sales part of it. And honestly, we do some role playing and stuff like that too. In the morning and things like that, we go over different things. I got a great group of coworkers that we're always trying to help each other out and all that stuff. I struggle in one area, and it's mainly because this area is struggling in general. Financially, this whole area is just struggling financially, is one. Two, the previous guy that was there was a creep and stopped going to a lot of different places, and just pretty much nobody liked him, to where he just lost so many different customers. And in fact, some of the customers aren't even like real customers and things like that. He like, to help with like new customer contests and things like that, he would like sign up fake people and stuff like that too. And so there's just a lot of things that the area that I've been working in for a year, for like 2.5 years, I'm actually doing quite well in. But they expanded my route, and the area that I took over from him, I've been in this area for maybe about a year now, and he just like, I really don't want to keep putting any blame on him, because like I said, I've been in there for like a year now, but it's just like so many people in that area, he put such a bad taste in their mouth that like the people that are like the really old customers that haven't bought in a while, what we would call the dormants, if I go and try to talk to them to be like, hey, haven't seen you in a while, just thought maybe you might be interested in getting the service back or whatever, they're just like, no, I don't want anything to do with Schwans. You guys are awful. And we also have some bad reviews just because of some of these different merchandiser issues and things like that too. Like, gosh, how can we have our company without good ice cream cones, man? Like, ice cream cones are one of the first things we started on, and everybody knows Schwann's ice cream, and we don't even have like a proper ice cream vendor anymore. Like, we're trying to do some different things, but also some of the good things that I do see this new company that has been formed from the shell of another, Yellow is doing some good things, like these partner picks that we're doing. So we partnered with Omaha Steaks. So now I have Omaha Steaks and Omaha Burgers and Omaha Steak seasoning and stuff on my truck to sell to people. And it's a little bit more expensive than our stuff was, but people know the brand. And we have some other partners that we've tried, and I forgot to try them. I'm going to have to try them after the live stream because now I remember. But we got these new Leonetti's pizza stromboli bites that are pepperoni and cheese and pizza sauce inside like a pizza dough. And I'm going to make them in the air fryer. And apparently Leonetti's is like a family-owned company that has an old family recipe for their pizza dough that's over 100 years old. So he pulled the Trump Biden string, got NPCs to vote. Figured that's why. Sometimes it helps to go outside the group that's goes all the same stuff though. Yeah. I think I know your target area, and if not, it should be, but it will sound ageist on YouTube. Ageist. Well, yeah, and a lot of the people that haven't bought in a long time, my dormant customers, those are the more elderly people, the people that know the old Schwans and the way things used to be 20, 30 years ago when stuff was really, really good, both economically and, quality, food wise, all that stuff. And yeah, like you just said in Discord too, you got to find those retirement communities. That's where my best customers are, man. I have a retirement community I go to on one of my days, which I call Thirsty Thursday, because this day is a really easy day to get good high sales on. But one of my retirement communities, when I first started going there 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when I first took over this route, there was 3 customers in this building. This building was always scheduled at the end of the day. And so by the time I got there, the building was already locked up. There was no way to get inside unless any of the customers let me inside. And so I had to call them, and they either wouldn't answer the phone or they just be like, no, I don't need anything. And so I just be like, okay, well, I'll be back in 2 weeks then. But then at some point, I got that switched to a different time. And then I ended up going inside the building, and somebody else like stopped me and placed an order over the phone or something like that. And I ended up getting another customer. And then I got another customer from that one. And then another customer. And then all of a sudden, one of the old customers that used to never buy anything all of a sudden started buying some stuff. And the other two customers that would never answer the phone, well, turns out that they died or something like that, and they didn't even live there anymore. But now, all of a sudden, I have 30 plus customers in that building. If anybody rides with me that day, like sometimes my boss will ride with me or somebody else, just because sometimes they do that. We do ride-alongs and things. He will I always warn them, like here, when we go to Santa Maria, like, just gonna warn you, we're gonna be here for about 2 hours. Because I go inside. First, there's some people that pre-order or they call me a day or two ahead, and I'll set up an order for them. And so I'll grab all their stuff and I'll bring it inside. I'll give them their order, and then I'll stay up on the 3rd floor and I'll get a few more orders. And then I'll go outside and I'll collect those up and I'll bring those in. And then I'll go down to the 1st floor, because it's actually like you come in on the 2nd floor. So I'll go top floor, then I'll go to bottom floor. I'll get orders down there, and then I'll get everybody's stuff out in the truck and bring it back in. And then I'll go to the 2nd floor, and I might go to one side and first, and then I'll go to the other side. It depends on how many people are actually ordering and how many people are just saying that they don't really need anything that time. So where sometimes I'll do one side and then go outside, and sometimes then I'll do the other side and go back outside and do all this stuff. Sometimes I go in and out, and I'm making so many different trips. And in the meantime, when I'm going from one room to another, I got people out in like the lobby waving me down and trying to like order stuff too. And those are great. You are totally right. You can say it on here. It's fine. You don't need to say it on Discord. But yeah, those retirement communities are the best. And on one of my struggle days, the days that are going to be combined, I have a retirement community there, and I'm working on building that one up. It started with one customer, then it was 2, then it was 3. I now have 4 customers in that building, and I've been like leaving books in different places trying to get people to see it. The big problem is we don't have a call center right now, but they will be bringing the call center back, and that will also help to increase more of our sales, because some people they don't want to go online to place an order. They don't have a smartphone or want to download an app to do it that way. And the only thing they're going to do is try to go online to look up the phone number to call to place an order that way. So, did you see my note to you? No. Oh, Amazon motion activated sprinkler outdoor waterproof repellent for yard. Nice. About $40 per unit. Yeah, I know kind of what I need to look for. I will check that out and think about that. I've also kind of thought about maybe setting up some sort of sprinkler system in my yard in general. I think my yard used to have some sort of a sprinkler system in there, because when I was digging out my pond, I found some sort of tube that looked like it was connected to maybe some sort of a sprinkler system. I got worried there for a second, because I was all like, oh no, I didn't call 1-800 Right, and I hit one of the bad tube things. Oh no. But it was fine. Like I said, I think it was an old sprinkler system that's no longer hooked up, and I just ended up like hitting one of the tubes, and I just took the whole tube out of the ground, and it's all the way out now. But it looked like it had a little spot that would have connected to a sprinkler. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But yeah, that would be interesting. Um, is it just like a normal sprinkler system, more or less, that is just shooting out water, or is it like a cat repellent that shoots out like pheromones or whatever? That's like, hey, get away. Because if it's that sort of thing, like if it's repellent spray, I don't know if I want that around the pond. If it's just water, to where I can maybe even hook it up to the pond, where it's like the water basin for the sprinkler system comes from the pond or something, then yeah, I'll freaking, then if it's just water, that's fine. It's just a motion activated sprinkler. Yeah. Just water. Yeah. Well, then where does it get the water from? Would I have to like connect it to like my garden hose or something? Or I don't know. And then if it's motion activated too, like I guess I can turn that on and off, right? So yeah, from a hose. Yeah, motion. Yeah. Okay. I'll look that up. I do want to hook up some sort of a sprinkler system or whatever too. I think what I'm gonna do though is actually one of those like soak hoses where you like just put the hose out and then it is like porous to where the water comes out of the hose everywhere and just like soaks the ground, and it's a great way to water the plants without actually spraying water everywhere. A lot of people do that for like rose bushes and stuff like that, and that's honestly the best way to water like your tomatoes and your peppers and some of those other plants too, because if you water from the top like that, you can get splashback, and that causes like the dirt to splash up onto the plant, which can cause diseases to spread and all that. But if you set up one of those soaker hoses everywhere, you can just turn that on and completely saturate the ground full of water without having anything spraying everywhere. So that's the best way to do uh, tomatoes, peppers, uh, any sort of like squash, watermelon, pumpkins, stuff like that, because you just don't want all that splashback. Well, enjoy the dark pond for a second. I hate to do this, but I gotta walk away for just 1 second here. Hold on, guys. Okay. Sorry about that. Part 1. It gets rid of jets. Yeah. Motion activated sprinkler outdoor waterproof repellent for yard. Outdoor motion activated water repellent. Yeah. Critter Ritter. Have a heart. 5277 Critter Ritter motion activated animal repellent and sprinkler. Ah. Yeah. Okay, now see, that is something that I should get. I'm going to go ahead and share this with you guys here. So look at this. $46. So it's an animal repellent and sprinkler. It repels cats, dogs, chipmunks, groundhogs, squirrels, skunks, deer, and more. Which, whatever, however true that is. But okay, so it's got a sprinkler, and then it also does sound. It detects animals, but I think it also has sound. So device releases a startling surge of water to scare animals away and conditions them to avoid the area in the future. Motion activated. Multiple settings. So force sensitivity settings allow you to adjust for your target animal, or the continuous spray setting allows for the use as an actual sprinkler. Okay, so no, this one does not also do sound. I thought it also had sound. But yeah, so there's that. Which is pretty cool. That's not too bad. I guess that maybe you just only need one too. And if it's just spraying water, I could just put it actually like spraying like right over the pond to where anything that is around or near the pond will get sprayed. And then also I could also just rotate it and then have it spray onto my garden and then use that as a sprinkler onto my garden too. They work. I'm sure they do too. Because I mean, you just got to train the animals to stay away, is all it is. If they go near it and it's just like, and it starts spraying water at them, then they run away and they get away from it. And anytime they go close, it starts spraying them and they run away from it. Like, eventually they're going to not want to get sprayed anymore and they won't go near the area. And yeah, that's really smart. Thank you for that recommendation. Because then I shouldn't have to put like a net or anything around the pond. I can just put that sprinkler there. And anything around the pond that I don't want there, just sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. And then the fish will just be like, hey, it just rained for 5 seconds. So, yeah, that's pretty smart. Black & Decker motion activated. That one, I might get the Black & Decker one. Just because I like Black & Decker brand. Good stuff. They have ones that you can put on stands too, versus ones that you like stab into the ground. There's lots of different ones. Just get that for a while until stuff is kind of trained to stay away from the pond, and then I can probably get rid of it at some point. And then, if I have to, I can always pull it back out and until the problem is solved, and then, so on and so forth. That's a very good recommendation. Thank you for that. Maybe I can find that. I can probably find something like that locally. I'm going to, if I have time tomorrow versus just playing video games all day or something like that, I might try to run to Home Depot and see if they have one that I can buy in store. Because I'm just old school that way. I want to buy it in store. I want to hold it in my hand. I want to look at it. I want to feel how sturdy the plastic is and everything. I don't want to buy some super lightweight, cheap garbage thing that's just gonna, break in, a month or something like that. Cheap is cheap, but I don't want to have to buy a cheap thing 10 times when I can buy a not so cheap thing once. So that's the way I think about it. And I learned that from my dad because my dad did the opposite. See, I grew up with a house with it was about a 2-acre property, but about 1.5 acres of actual grass that needed to be mowed. And most of the time we just had a push mower because my dad was raising 5 kids on one income and had a decent sized house with all the other payments and stuff that he had to make, to where he was just, trying to save money in any way that he could. So he never wanted to go out and buy an expensive riding lawnmower. And then also the lawn did have several big trees that had kind of roots and things in different areas. So he never wanted to go buy an expensive mower just to have it get hit a tree root and be damaged, and him not know how to be able to fix it and just have to buy a new one anyway. And so my dad would just buy a super cheap, like $100 little cheap push mower and mow, and we would mow the lawn with that. And friggin' pretty much every year it would break. And so every year he'd buy another one. And then I say every year, but it wasn't really every year, but probably every other year or so he'd have to buy another one. And he would just keep the old one for like parts. And so in our garage, we had at one point we had 7 or 8 push mowers that only one of them actually worked. And it was ridiculous. But so while my dad would buy the cheapest lawnmower he could, because in his mind it was going to break no matter what. So why buy the expensive one when I can just buy the cheap one and it works, And sometimes you do just buy the cheap thing, You buy the cheap thing to get you through the bad times until you can buy something that's a little bit more expensive and more reliable by saving up money throughout the time while you have the cheap product, right? Sometimes you do that. But yeah, in my mind, and I even told my dad this a couple times, and eventually he did it, and sure enough, it actually worked. But I told him, it's like, Dad, instead of buying the cheapest lawnmower for this gigantic yard every single year, why not buy instead of buying that $100 lawnmower, why not buy a $200 lawnmower and have it last you 3 or 4 years? Maybe it does. Maybe if you put a little bit more money into a lawnmower that has a little bit more power and a little bit more, whatever else, it might be able to withstand the yard a little bit longer to where, it lasts longer. And and that's what I do. That's the way I do my shopping. Like, I don't want to buy the cheapest thing out there, but I'm not going to buy something expensive just because it has a fancy brand name and it's expensive. Like, I'm going to buy something that is the best quality for like the cheapest amount possible, you know? So, something that's kind of like in the middle low end as far as cost. So, I'm not going to get like with my car. Like, I'm not going to go out there and get the little Toyota Yaris, that little bitty cheap car. But I'm not going to go out there and buy the new Toyota Supra that just came out either. Because, well, for one, it's not the old Supra. It's just using the name of a Supra on something that's not really a Supra at all, per se. But also, like, I don't really care about having a Supra just because it's a Supra. Like, I'm gonna buy the Camry or the Corolla or something like that. Something that's still on the cheaper end, but is a little bit more expensive. You're paying for the better reliability and whatever else. Um, what else can I think about? Like, I don't know. I think that's good enough example that people can understand. So we'll stick with that. It was a chill group tonight, guys. Like, where's everybody at? Friggin', I know Chattanooga Ed was live streaming, and now Vibes is live streaming, of course. But he always live streams Saturday night. Doesn't really take any away from me. So, maybe it's just because Gina's not here. People only come for Gina. No, not really. People don't come for Gina. Well, some people come for Gina. And then some of those people that were just coming for Gina and didn't like me at all, those people are gone now. Those people don't watch the show at all anymore. And that's fine. I don't care. That's why I even made that YouTube short or whatever. It's just like, hey, if you don't want to watch this stuff because you think it's stupid or whatever, you don't like me, like, then don't watch it. Like, because YouTube isn't forcing you to watch it. And people aren't getting notifications and things like that whenever I live stream or anything like that. People get a notification that Gina went live whenever we are live streaming, but they never get the one from my channel. And I'm not necessarily complaining about that. I'm just stating what it is. So I'm like, a little shadow banned is part of it. Another part of it is that I just don't post enough content to keep myself up there in the algorithm. But also, like, I don't sit there and I don't know, do the mainstream thing or whatever. Of course, I don't really answer so many fish questions anymore. Most of the people that hang out and watch my channel know everything that I know about fish keeping. So they're not asking me any questions about how to keep fish. And, all the fish that I have right now in the tanks behind me and stuff, they're small little fish and stuff that kind of hide on the rocks. Like, you can see one right there right now, but and there's like one right here. But they don't really make it super obvious that they're there. So, no, I do want to kind of. I've been thinking about maybe redoing this room again because some of these tanks, well, some of these tanks in here, like this one, doesn't have any fish in it anymore. I think all my saltwater mollies have died again, unfortunately. So I got this 40-gallon breeder over here. Maybe I just need to convert it back out of salt water. I don't know. Like I can use some of this stuff. Like I'm gonna take some of the the stuff out. Like maybe I just need to keep it running enough with the salt water through it until I get the other saltwater tank going, just so I can use some of this stuff to help seed the other saltwater tank. But I think I want to convert this 40-gallon breeder back into fresh water and put something else in there. Or maybe I can still put mollies or something in there, but maybe I'll just have better luck with them breeding and all that if I do it with fresh water instead of the salt water, just because it'll be a little bit easier to keep the water quality better. And then, since mollies technically aren't marine fish, they're they're brackish. They're very light brackish is when they're happiest, but they're generally people think of mollies as freshwater fish, and they can go brackish and they can go full marine, but those baby mollies were growing so slow in marine too, to where I feel like if I kept them in freshwater, they'd probably grow faster, and it'd be easier to do water changes and all that stuff too. Yeah. And then I got that 30-gallon breeder tank or the 29-gallon breeder that I still need to get from that other lady, one of my customers. So I might be rearranging this room sometime soon. Maybe not super soon, but I do got, more vacation time coming up in the next couple months or so. I don't think until maybe November or so, but it's still a little while away. But maybe then when I have a couple days off in a row, I can rearrange this fish room and just revamp my fish room again, because everything's just kind of gone stale, I guess. I get kind of tired of looking at the same thing, and so I just want to redo all the tanks anyway, right? So if I'm gonna redo them all, well, let's redo the whole room and rearrange it a little bit better. Get rid of some of the tanks that I don't want in here and highlight the tanks that I do want. So, bye, James. Hey, Danny, you know what we're waiting for, right? The really cool ones that come someday. Just kidding. Yeah. The really cool fish. Yeah. I'm waiting for those cool fish too. I gotta get that other saltwater tank going and get that starting the cycle. But I don't want to spend any money right now. The same way I can't get my customers to like buy anything. I can't pull myself to buy any expensive lights or a sump or anything like that. And just struggling to get this glass apart on this like 10-gallon tank to use the glass for parts to build my own sump using this 20 long. Like I'm struggling to get that apart, and I don't feel like there's going to be any way that I can get it apart without breaking the glass anymore. So I might just have to go out there and buy some glass to do it, because I still have like the glass cutter and all those different things, and silicone. I got the skill to do it. It's just the this 10-gallon tank was so tightly made to where I cannot get any sort of razor blade, even like a surgical scalpel or those like extra fine X-Acto blades or whatever in between the panels of glass to cut the silicone. And what I need to do too is maybe try buying a heat gun to help loosen up the silicone some, maybe. But that might just be a waste of money on something that I don't really need and that doesn't actually help. So I don't know. But my demographic, like I'm in my own area. Like I deal with the same sort of things that most of my customers deal with because I live in my own zone. And so I know what a lot of the people around me are dealing with. And, you know, maybe not everybody is the same exact thing as me. And I know some people are better off than me. And there's a lot of people that are much worse off than I am. But just the way that things are going with me personally right now, it is hard for me to want to go out there and really just buy anything. At least anything like expensive. Because I don't want to put my credit card up anymore. I'm kind of stagnant with it right now. My dad is just like, trying to help me out. And it's just like, stop building up your credit card. And it's just like, I'm not building it up. And I'm not trying to put any more money onto my credit card per se. But just with my bills right now, everything that's going out, everything that's coming in is pretty much going right back out. So I'm taking my entire paycheck and putting it right onto my credit card. And then I'm using my credit card to pay for my bills and, buy myself groceries and things like that. And by the end of the week, like, I'm pretty much on to the next paycheck. So doing the same thing. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, that's it for this week. My pond is just all black out there. One of those lights is almost gone already. Those solar lights don't quite get enough sunlight to really go on that long just because of the shade from all the different plants and stuff around there. So it is what it is. But hopefully next week is a little bit more interesting. We should have Gina back next week, which would be nice. And hopefully I'll have some fun, cool things to talk about other than, my fish dying in my pond. So, yeah. All right, guys. Catch you next week. See you later. As Gina would say, bye. But as I say, So long, and thanks for the fish.